The Labour Party has a process for triggering a leadership election. That has not happened, so we all intend to get on with our jobs, and that's what I'm going to do. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
What did the Cabinet say to him, sir? He said that they haven't triggered a leadership.
So what we had there is Steve Reid walking out of... There we go. There's a bit of a sense of the chaos behind us. What we saw there was Steve Reid, Community Secretary, key ally of Keir Starmer, coming out.
Lisa Nandy.
And here we have Lisa Nandy and James Murray.
PM to stand down. Did you ask the Prime Minister to stand down? David Lammy. David Lammy, can you come and talk on Sky News? David Lammy, is the PM fighting on? Bridget, what's your message to those who would want Keir Starmer to go? Emma, what's your message?
You have here the members of the Cabinet leaving. Steve Reid, so far the key ally of Keir Starmer, coming up, deciding to give a short statement to the cameras here and to political credit to Beth Rigby to stay that he wants him to fight on, that there was a unity around the Prime Minister. Nobody else has given us any words yet, but of course we're still awaiting for Ed Miliband, we're still awaiting for West Streeting, for some of the others to come from outside that door. I'm just going to stand up, which may look slightly weird and shot, just emerging.
It's very.
There we go.
I mean, Steve. Yeah.
Still,
I don't know if
we want to jump out when people come down.
I don't know if the viewers also saw Robert Peston of ITV in frame.
Yeah,
because he was trying to find out because actually what happened there was really unusual, because Steve Reid came out and said a statement to cameras. Now, that never really happens after Cabinet. I've never known that to happen. But you saw how he looked as well. He looked furious. And he came out and he made a very brief statement, basically repeating what the Prime Minister had said, which is a leadership contest had not been triggered and they were getting on with it, and the Prime Minister was staying on, and then he stalked off. He looked furious.
And he, of course, tweeted from within Cabinet while it was going on as well, talking about the need to unite, talking about the disruption for the country if they turn on each other. I think the question that we're still trying to answer is Steve Reid reflective of the entire Cabinet?
No, and also the question, I was yelling at him, but I was tethered to a mic, so I couldn't actually physically chase him, was what did the Cabinet say in response? And that's what we now need to hear. And others have subsequently come out. We've had David Lammy, John Healey, we've had Emma Reynolds, we've had Bridget Phillipson coming out in pairs, chatting with each other, pretending we're all not here, when there's a bank of like 200 cameras. But obviously Steve Reid dispatched there to be the Prime Minister's cheerleader-in-chief, if you like. Peter Kyle, would you speak to Sky News, sir? Would you come and speak to Sky News? Peter Kyle, I'm fine, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
How was Cabinet, and what did everyone say when Keir Starmer said a leadership race had not been triggered?
Well, it's the fact. We've had a very purposeful Cabinet meeting talking about the big issues facing our economy and society. Nothing has been triggered. I'm about to go off to Brussels to continue working with Brussels to deepen a relationship, to benefit Britain. We are working hard on the big issues that are facing the country, and Keir is showing really steadfast leadership.
Sure,
and I respect that.
Peter, did anyone challenge him? Liz Kendall, would you come and talk to us briefly? Thank you. Liz Kendall, what happened in the Cabinet?
Well, the Prime Minister talked about the challenges we face as a country, the crisis in the Middle East, the impact on the cost of living here, and that this government will do what we were elected to do, which is serve the British people. The Prime Minister has my full support in this. And let me just say this. There is a process to challenge the leader. No one has made that challenge. And what people would expect me to do is to focus on how we can grow the economy, tackle the cost of living, and give them a better life.
So the Prime Minister
and that is what
Liz, did anyone challenge him in the room? Did anyone challenge him in the room? Okay, this is very interesting.
And I think what we've got is we've got members of the Cabinet Cabinet coming out of here and arguing the Prime Minister's position, effectively. What we haven't had the answer to, Beth's asked a lot, is whether or not anyone directly challenged him in that room.
Look, Pat McFadden, would you come and say a few words, sir? Pat, can you come and say a few words? Can you come and say a few words, sir?
How can the government carry on like this?
The Prime Minister is going to continue with his job, as he should, as the public will expect him to do. And I'm going to continue with mine.
Pat, did anyone challenge him? Did anyone challenge him around that table? Did anyone publicly challenge him around the cabinet table? They didn't.
Many statements of support for the job that he's doing, and that's what the public.
What about those who
Can he hang on?
Can
he hang on?
Wants to carry on with his job, as he should, as the public will expect him to do.
Mr McFadden, did Wes Streeting give his support?
Okay, so that was just to say what Pat McFadden said there. He said no one challenged the Prime Minister. When he made that statement, no one challenged him. No one actually said to him publicly that they wanted him to go. And he also said that there are lots of messages of support around the table. And this is really fascinating because, Sophie, you can see what's happening.
Yeah.
They have lined up cabinet ministers who are backing Keir Starmer to come out of the door and make statements on camera. I've never seen this before.
No, I've never seen this
in all
before.
the time we've done it. Normally they leg it, but they are choosing to come and make a statement. They're not really taking questions. But who have we had? We've had Liz Kendall, the Technology Secretary. We've had Pat McFadden, Steve Reid and Peter Kyle. And Peter Kyle's interesting because obviously he's Wes Streeting's best friend. So this is really fascinating. This is a cabinet fighting back, at least some of them. But the question is, there are now 78 MPs that are saying that Keir Starmer needs to step down. But what he has done, at least, is corralled some of the cabinet, and they are coming on camera to say that he should continue.
And we know that the Prime Minister kicked off Cabinet by effectively throwing down the gauntlet, saying there's been no leadership challenge, looking at people, I guess, like Wes Streeting, looking at people like Ed Miliband, others who might challenge him, potentially Shabana Mahmood, saying, look, what are you going to do about it? And then, as you say, this very organised, unusual show of support by members of the Cabinet as well.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm a bit flabbergasted.
Yeah.
I'm quite old now, and I've done this a long time. I've never seen this. I've never seen cabinet ministers come out after a cabinet to publicly support the Prime Minister, and they're all with quite a similar message, which leadership contest hasn't been triggered. We're getting on with the job. We're talking about substantive issues. The Prime Minister has my support. And the most telling one for me is the thing that I thought I was going to have to make 100 phone calls on, which was what was happening around the table. Did anyone publicly challenge him? And Pat McFadden clearly said, when I asked him that, no, they did not, which tells me that if some people had gone into him privately, such as Shabana Mahmood, she did not say it in front of other colleagues. And that also suggests to me, unless I hear otherwise from someone else, that Wes Streeting did not publicly challenge the PM. Anna Turning. Anna, could you spare a word for Sky News, Anna? Anna Turley there. He's got my full support, she says.
My question now is, where is Wes Streeting? Where is Shabana Mahmood? Where is Ed Miliband? None of them have left yet. Where are they? You know,
well, they might have gone round the back.
But if they have gone round the back, then I think that's significant in itself, right? That you have the more supportive people coming out here, making those statements to the cameras, people who we know would be potentially more problematic.
This was quite an asymmetrical battle yesterday, in that what we had yesterday was a Prime Minister to come out fighting in the morning, and then what happened was there was this flow of resignations, and it built up to the PPSs, and then we know that 3 cabinet ministers went in to speak to the Prime Minister, and then it felt really that it was game over for him. And now what we're seeing this morning is that he is trying to fight back. Now, it doesn't detract from the fact that there is a massive rebellion against him, and there's scores of MPs saying he's got to stand down. What was interesting too, though, was that David Lammy didn't actually come over and say anything, and he was ringing round around MPs last night trying to canvass support for the Prime Minister or just gauge through the party. And John Healey, who we know went in to see Keir Starmer last night, he didn't say anything either. But clearly, he's got 4 cabinet ministers there that have come out on camera. We might get some more, but that is the cabinet. I think what we can take from that is the cabinet's divided.
Yeah, exactly. The cabinet is divided, and what it may now take is a serious stalking horse candidate or a serious contender actually throwing their hat in the ring, a Wes Streeting, for example, having to go over the top to get those 81 MPs, because it doesn't look like, what's almost certain, that Keir Starmer's not going to go unless that happens, right? He's not just going to listen to the men in grey suits and quietly slip off.
I think what we can now begin to sort of say more confidently, because obviously these cabinet meetings are closed meetings. You have the cabinet and then the officials sit round the edge, and there's a readout, and typically cabinet meetings don't leak unless the government's in a bit of bother, so maybe this one will leak quite a lot today. But I think what you saw there was the Prime Minister had a prepared statement, and then you probably had Liz Kendall, Peter Kyle, Pat McFadden coming out in support, Steve Reid then reaffirming the Prime Minister's position, and in that moment those that perhaps don't agree maybe didn't say anything, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to move.
Yeah, exactly.
It just they didn't move in there. But I think I was told last night the Prime Minister was weighing up his options. You were told by Darren this morning that he was
had a decision to make.
That he had a decision to make, and at least now what we know at 10 to 11 in the morning is that his decision has been made, which is I'm carrying it on until you lot drag me out of here.
As we've been talking, the number of MPs who have called for the Prime Minister to go has ticked up by 1. Rebecca Long-Bailey, someone on the left of the party, very clearly, not a natural ally of Keir Starmer, but it's significant. It's gone up to 79. I mean, this is... Look, it's not a majority yet, but 79 MPs publicly saying it is difficult to see how you come back from that.
When Boris Johnson, I mean, it's the famous sort of phrase now, when the herd moves, it moves, and it was Johnson sort of, in his typical language, sort of reflecting on what happened to him and that he just couldn't stop the tide. Like, as much as he wanted, it washed over him and it pushed him out of Downing Street. It felt very much like the herd was moving. He's got 79 MPs calling for him to go. Where he is being helped is the fact that they are not unified around one candidate and they're divided. And I guess the question is, someone who is definitely not a supporter of Wes Streeting, who is a backer of Andy Burnham, was saying to me this morning, there might be 80 MPs or 79 MPs or that are calling on the PM to go, but they are not unified behind one candidate. And so that's the question, like, do they actually get to the point where they can trigger a race? But I also have to say, Sophie, that it feels honestly so far gone for Keir Starmer that even if a race isn't triggered immediately or he continues a bit longer, it's really hard to see how he pulls it back from the place he's in. Yeah. It really is.
And also, if we take it as almost a given that he won't lead Labour into the next election, then it does become a process or a thought of when it happens rather than if it happens, which is unbelievably destabilising for any leader, any Prime Minister.
Well, I think the thing for Keir Starmer is he's been in this destabilised position now for weeks. I mean, really, this has been going on, I think, really since the Mandelson files, really, when those documents were released showing some of the misjudgments made over the appointment. Lord Hermer, can you come and talk to Sky News, sir? Okay, that's Lord Hermer, who is Keir Starmer brought him in. He's a whiz, a legal whiz, and he was a barrister with Keir Starmer, and they worked together, and they are very, very old friends. And Keir Starmer brought Lord Hermer into government so that he could be his Attorney General, his most senior legal brain, and he is his closest ally. That is his closest friend, although he didn't stop to talk.
I know, he didn't stop
to
talk.
He doesn't normally talk,
I'll be honest,
Have you ever seen Lord Hermer on camera?
I'll be honest, I'd be interested when he does a morning round.
No,
he doesn't. He doesn't do a morning round. round. It's interesting though, because just talking about the morning round, Darren Jones, who again is an ally of Keir Starmer, right? You know, he's right in there with him. He's his chief of staff in some ways, on the political side at least. I felt with that interview that the game was up. He kind of spoke with this sadness, and yet the tone, it feels, has shifted even throughout the morning.
Well, I mean, I also think, I think Darren Jones had a really different...
West Streeting, did you West Streeting, did you call on Starmer to resign?
There we go. He's absolutely...
What did you tell the Prime Minister?
No word from West Streeting, the man who so many people have been focused on this morning. We know from what Pat McFadden said to Beth that he did not directly challenge the Prime Minister at Cabinet. Whether or not he will directly challenge him in the coming days or even hours, I think remains to be seen, because the other thing that we don't know is Keir Starmer said, if you want me, you have to challenge.
I was told, though, and this was by a minister last night, that there are ministers that are preparing, as they put it to me, if the Cabinet won't do it, we will do it.